Chris Pratt takes on new challenges in the sci-fi thriller film, Mercy. Pratt stars as an LA detective who has limited time to uncover the truth about his wife's death after being blamed for her murder. One of the most difficult parts of working on the film came while Pratt was spending time with law enforcement officers to gain a deeper understanding of his character. I had an opportunity to work with the LAPD and their Homicide division, and so I was able to go down and talk to those guys, says Pratt. He even performed stunts while working alongside them. But the stunts were not the most challenging aspect of his time in preparing for the role alongside the LAPD. He got to drive cop cars, got into cool bar fights, and heard a lot of difficult stories that the cops had to endure. Those difficult stories are what stayed with him and helped him empathize with the cops and strengthen his character's emotional arc. He highlights his work with the cops, saying, "These guys are heroes, and the trouble that they encounter and the trauma they see on a day-to-day basis is really staggering." He notes that the public often doesn't realize there's someone always out there at any time working a homicide case. Besides working and riding alongside actual cops to prepare for his character in Mercy, Pratt was pretty adamant in performing some of his own stunts, something the action star is known for. For this role, director Timor Bekmambetov and the producers had him tied to a chair, a request that Pratt asked for himself. The script called for Pratt's character, Detective Chris Raven, to be strapped into a futuristic chair throughout his 90-minute trial. And the actor revealed that he asked production to allow him to be strapped in for the duration of all his scenes. That's right, no body double was used for a majority of those scenes. "I asked them to confine me in it. I didn't have to pretend that I was strapped down," says Pratt. The actor was cuffed to the chair both at the feet and at the hands. Even part of his head was strapped in at the end alongside other parts, which we won't mention to not ruin the fun of the movie. The claustrophobia of the stunt allowed Pratt to be authentic in his fear and performance rather than having to play pretend. This heightened the tension of the entire film. Of course, production made sure that if Pratt was in any danger, he could easily escape the chair by ensuring that he could easily pop out of the chair if requested. But Pratt made sure that it was not an easy mechanism for him to just get out of it by accident during the scene. One of the most unique parts about the story is that the film tries to unfold in real time, with Pratt's character having just 90 minutes to prove his innocence to an AI judge. Screenwriter Marco Van Bell penned the script and ensured to make the story unfold beat by beat with elevated tension with every passing minute, without ever losing the audience's attention. A rare feat. It's a Minority Report-style sci-fi thriller that allowed Pratt to do something he'd never done before. While audiences may assume it's a sci-fi thriller created for the AI age, Van Bell wanted the story to be a critique of the AI culture that has championed its technological advancements. Pratt's character used to champion the AI judge model until he had to face it in real time with a life-or-death consequence. In order to make sure the film doesn't have a dull moment, 3 different editors were hired to make sure the 90-minute time frame feels realistic and tense. Dodie Dorn, Austin Keeling, and Lam Nguyen formed the editing team that brought Van Bell and Bekmambetov's visions to life. With all this talk about an AI judge in the film, you must be wondering, did an actor play the judge, or did actual AI portray the role? Don't worry. AI hasn't taken over acting roles. Rebecca Ferguson plays Judge Maddox, the AI judge at the center of the film. The actress was excited to take on the role, channeling the eeriness of her performance from Dune Part 2 into Judge Maddox, as an emotionless AI that shows signs of corruption and hesitancy towards Pratt's character. When Ferguson was sent the script for the movie, she instantly jumped on board for the sole reason that she would only have a brief shooting schedule of 8 days while getting to play the antagonist of the movie. But it wasn't only the ability to have some time off between filming the back-to-back final seasons of Silo and Mercy that caught her attention. So did the character. The character was intriguing, but Timor and the producer, Chuck Rovan, who did Oppenheimer, it was the conversations with them about where they wanted to take the character of Maddox, says Ferguson. She was captivated by the potential of what she could achieve with the character in such a short time frame. She had only one look, but so many small details and nuances to bring to life, since the character is technically AI. Ferguson is no stranger to futuristic roles, as fans of her work know, and she says she takes on these roles due to the character and doing something she's never done before. It also helps that she loves working with Chris Pratt, emphasizing his quick wit and kindness on set. Regarding production design for Mercy, due to its futuristic story and elements, Bekmambetov and his team wanted to create a functioning, high-tech set for the actors. So while Pratt sits in the electric chair, he is surrounded by augmented reality screens. He sees screens around him, flying, and he has a trackpad and voice control to play with all of these elements. "We show that on camera," says the director. "That's right. None of that was added in post. Maybe only enhanced." There's a lot of evidence as screens like augmented reality screens. We learned how to send them from the screen into the theater, and the audience will have the same feeling that Chris Pratt sitting in the chair waiting to be executed. Those actual interfaces in the scenes existed on the practical set that the team constructed. This helped elevate Pratt's performance since he was dealing in real time with the screens. Bekmambetov is an innovator behind Screenlife, a new way of making films that more accurately reflects how we live our day-to-day lives. So it was important for the director to secure the right budget to be able to build the screens, something that is a common thing in our lives. Screenlife is not movies about iPhone screens, not movies about computer screens. In Screenlife, our screen is a dividing surface, or just an idea, says Bekmambetov. With all this tech talk, you might be wondering, well, how can an individual in the world of the Mercy be put on a 90-minute trial? Where is the evidence? Well, the film takes it a step further and uses the character's digital footprints as evidence in real time. So while Pratt is strapped to the chair with all the augmented screens surrounding him, they play out moments in his actual life that have been captured by various technological tools. Body cameras, CCTV footage, texts and messaging, and even other courtroom visuals. It's not found footage though, as that's a different way of making movies about reality. The investigation we see unfold in front of Pratt has open files, and he is allowed to sift through them and control the screens to show evidence that he is not guilty. While Pratt is in the electric chair for the majority of the film, he had to perform some stunts for certain scenes. And one stunt left him with an injured ankle. On day 4 of the shoot, he managed to hit a metal post on his ankle, injuring himself. Although they have a great stunt team in place, Pratt had opted to do the scene himself since it didn't necessarily involve any big stunts, but he ended up with a small injury instead. You might think that AI is not as advanced yet to be in our courts, but we're here to tell you, it's closer to reality than you think. There are already court cases in Georgia in which the legal system is fighting the use of AI in deciding legal battles. There is even a detailed handbook called Artificial Intelligence, Guidance for Use of AI and Generative AI in Courts by the National Center for State Courts and its AI Rapid Response Team that outlines guidelines on how judges can use AI in helping determine certain outcomes regarding certain cases. Of course, nothing is as high stakes as in Mercy and Judge Maddox, but the future is near, and it's scary.
Mr. Raven, how do you plead?
Thanks for joining us behind the scenes. We hope you enjoyed getting a closer look at how Mercy came together. From the dedicated performances by Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson, the usage of technology and screens on practical sets, to crafting a 90-minute film that is well-paced. If you like this kind of content, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next for Collider Behind the Scenes.